Hi. So I'm talking a little bit about leads, and I want to talk about one of the things it says in the, as you're reading through is it says avoid cliches. Emphasize them, emphasize these and that, but avoid cliches. And one of the things I just wanted to mention was don't, whenever possible, don't put cliches in it. Like, that's one of the things that, like, when I was a copy editor, that we used to hate is when a reporter would go out and be like, they would always put, whenever, you go to a festival or something, well, you live in Illinois, right? And it's going to rain, right? And then the next day it's not going to rain. And then it's going to rain. And the next day it's not going to rain, right? And so people oftentimes would lead with something like, despite the rain, state fairgoers' spirits were not dampened, or something like that. It always, spirits not dampened, right? That's a cliche. And at all possible, avoid it. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're saying stuff that really doesn't tell you anything. Their spirits weren't dampened. Okay. That makes me want to read your story. I know it's cliche. I know it's easy to say. Maybe you're like, wow, they were really in good spirits despite the rain. But you know what? It's also very cliche to say their spirits weren't dampened by it, right? The other thing is, one of the things is that, one of the greatest rules I ever thought, one of the rules I found really great about writing leads was that people said, somebody at some point told me is, never write a lead that you could write before you went, or never write a lead that you could get if you didn't go. So if you're going to a city council meeting and you say, you wouldn't want to lead with the city council met Tuesday to discuss, or the city council met Tuesday to discuss tax increases, or the city council met Tuesday to discuss a bridge project, right? Well, you could have looked at the agenda and you would have known that's what they were doing, right? They were meeting Tuesday. It was on there. It was scheduled. There was no secret about the fact. And so if you wrote a lead that said the city council met Tuesday, you already know it. Cliches are the same way. Cliches oftentimes are just lazy ways of saying stuff that people don't really, it's not really advancing anything. You want information. You want news there. You want to get the details up early into the story. One of the, ideas here is the lead grabs the attention. It takes the most important facts, the important part of the story, and gives it to them early on. It's stuff that, you got from going out and covering the story. One of the things that sometimes comes along is, one of the things that's kind of a fun or interesting thing about that is that, one of the things about that is that, about this is that, there's an old story about a newspaper that hired a bunch of like teachers and other people who would go out to like city council meetings and, school board meetings and everything, and they would cover it, right? And so they would hire community members, maybe just a lady who, or a man who, was just, in the community, or, would go to events, and they would go out and they would write it up what happened. And so a person goes out to the city council meeting and they write the story, and it starts off with, the city council came to order at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. They discussed, they said the Pledge of Allegiance. They discussed a new bridge project. And basically all that is a minutes, right? Minutes from a meeting, right? That's the way minutes from meetings go, is they just say, the first item on the agenda was this, next item on the agenda was this, next item. Whereas as a reporter, as a writer, your job is to find the most important facts and to put them out there, to put the news out there. And that's what the lead is about. And so the story is that the person goes out there and they're writing this, they said the Pledge of Allegiance, they discussed the project, they took a bathroom break, they came back, and then a member of the audience stood up and shot the mayor. Well, that's kind of the news lead, right? That's kind of what happens. There's an old saying that if it bleeds, it leads, which is meaning if it's sensational, if there's blood, if there's gore, if there's something horrible that happened, that's what people want to know about. People put the important stuff at the front of the news, right? Not the important stuff, but the most gruesome stuff, because that gets people to watch a newscast. That gets people to read the story. But it's also the case that that's kind of the most important thing. If you went to a meeting where somebody got shot, and your friend said, "How was your meeting tonight?" You go, "Oh my God, the mayor was shot." right? That's what news leads are, is they're the most important thing. How was the meeting tonight? It was fine. Maybe you'd say that. Or what happened at the meeting tonight? You'd go, well, we said the Pledge of Allegiance, we did this, and then the city council decided to raise taxes. Pledge of Allegiance was more important than that? And so always focus upon what is the news. What is the most important thing? What is the most unusual thing? Cliches don't give you that. Just telling people about what the meeting is or the agenda or anything that can be written before you get there does not get to the news of that story. And that's what you want to get at.